Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
This video is long overdue, and in it I shall be debunking the absolute bullshit and the fear-mongering about AI that certain YouTube channels have been using either to drive their own agenda regarding UBI, Universal Basic Income, and pushing out a very one-sided narrative, or for clicks and likes. And recently I have been on the end of a very one-sided narrative that certain individuals chose to feed 50 other YouTube channels, which is a very warped and one-sided story about me. That is something that I shall go into in greater detail at a later date. But my message to those channel owners, some of which I have actively supported with my money and promoted, even made AI videos for, to help push their channels, is shame on you for not even bothering to try and get my side of the story, and that this is in the hands of my lawyer, so I shall say no more for now. Back to all the AI bullshittery, where those who are looked upon as being rational and critical thinking individuals are more or less believing every single word that comes out of these tech bros mouths as being the gospel and fear-mongering to get clicks and likes without showing the other side of the story, and that is that AI is not going to be coming over here and stealing our jobs and our women. Do some of you YouTubers remember how you used that line to criticize quite rightly the Brexit Brigade, but yet here you are using the exact same line to try and back up your assertions about AI, and by repeating the crap that the CEOs of these AI companies are putting out there, you are advocating for obeying in advance.
When a tech executive says, oh, you're going to be using AI tomorrow for this and that, what they're actually doing is telling you, go out there and fulfill my vision of the world. Of course, they are making a very huge profit on it, so they have a financial interest. And when we unreflectively accept those assertions as if they were facts when they're not, what we're actually doing is obeying. It's obeying in advance in the sense of Timothy Snyder. The order might not be explicit, but it's exactly what we're doing. And so predictions are grammatically very similar to descriptions, but they're actually prescriptions in the sense that they tell you what to do. And if you accept them as facts without being critical, what you're doing is obeying.
Now, just how advanced is AI? Is it really capable of taking all our jobs and our women? Let's see how well it's doing so far, shall we? This is just one example. There are more examples which I shall give in some later videos.
Last September, Starbucks rolled out an AI-powered inventory system across 11,000 stores. The idea was straightforward. Instead of employees manually counting every bottle of syrup and carton of milk during inventory checks, they'd use a handheld device with AI-powered image recognition that could scan a shelf and count everything automatically. The system was supposedly 8 times faster than manual counting, with 99% accuracy. Starbucks' CTO said it would let workers spend more time crafting beverages and connecting with customers. The thing is, if you actually watch the promotional video Starbucks made to introduce this system, the AI misses a bottle of peppermint syrup sitting right there on the shelf. 9 months after that launch, Starbucks sent an internal newsletter to employees across all of those stores telling them to go back to counting inventory by hand. The system couldn't reliably count bottles of milk. It mixed up similar milk types and skipped items entirely. This would be a funny one-off story if it were just Starbucks. Right now, across the entire tech industry, the CEOs who bet everything on AI are quietly reversing course. They're cancelling data centers, rehiring the humans they laid off, getting sued by their own franchisees, and quietly walking back everything they said 2 years ago.
Let's hear what a one-time AI insider, but who is now someone investigating AI and making his findings public. He knows these AI CEOs personally. What does he think of them as people? And is AI all that it is being cracked up to be? Or is it a massive scam?
This is the largest con within AI, and within the OpenAI con and the larger LLM con. I don't think investors are going to be super interested in buying tens of billions of dollars of bonds every single year, quarter, for a company that's basically saying, hey, I need to borrow more money so that I can lose even more money. And once I've done that, I'm going to need even more money. And why do I need that money? So I can lose it. They don't have an answer. Think of it like this. If this thing was as powerful and scary as it was, wouldn't all of these companies be freaking out internally?
The part which is never examined by those people pushing the AI fear-mongering is that all of the rubbish that they are swallowing hook, line and sinker, and that they also want everyone else to, is that everything these AI CEOs are saying is all predictions. There's not a shred of actual data to confirm these predictions with, and yet they only have to fart, and the fearmongers are smelling roses, and they want everyone else to as well.
So it's a little bit like if we were going to use your Oracle of Delphi analogy, the idea of like them standing, atop the mountain and sort of saying, you will replace your workforce with AI. And we're all the people down below just being like, we will replace we've just kind of completely accepted it and we're obeying, as you say. Why are we obeying? I think there's a combination of things. When we ask experts about the future, what we're actually saying is, please tell me what to do because I'm scared and I don't know what to do. And that's a dangerous thing to do because if you ask enough people what to do, eventually somebody's going to take you up on it. And they might not have your best interests at stake. But more importantly, no one knows what the future holds because it's unwritten. So something very important for people to remember is predictions are never facts. Never.
Let's take a look at $1 trillion tech company that has been pushing AI on a grand scale, and yet after the billions they've pumped into AI, they are now pulling back and scaling back their investment. Why? If AI is as powerful as they once told us it is, and they were the ones who predicted that it would be an unstoppable force.
In January 2025, Microsoft pledged $80 billion on AI data centers in a single fiscal year. Satya Nadella painted a picture of an AI-powered future that demanded massive infrastructure. 1 month later, analysts at TD Cowen found that Microsoft had cancelled or walked away from data center projects totaling over 2 gigawatts of capacity. They had also let letters of intent on larger footprint sites expire and abandoned at least 5 land parcels that were already under construction. Nadella himself eventually admitted that there will be an overbuild of AI infrastructure. Goldman Sachs ran the numbers on the entire AI data center boom and found that the market had already added $19 trillion to AI-exposed company values since 2022. Their analysts warned that this looks a lot like the dot-com bubble, where the internet was absolutely real, but investors still lost trillions betting on companies that never figured out how to make money from it. And the money is only part of the story, because the companies that went ahead and fired people to replace them with AI are now hiring those people back.
What do we know about the CEOs of these AI companies? We know that Elon Musk is a Catamaran-fueled space cadet that's been making promises for years that he has never made good on. If he told you AI was going to rule the world, are you honestly going to say that you would believe him? A well-known YouTuber's recent video in which they used the Pope to try and bolster their AI fear-mongering with, yes, the fucking Pope, a bloke with pointy hat who believes a book, fairy tales called the Bible, is the word of some bloke in the sky called God, and who had Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic AI, sat to one side of him as he spouted all the nonsense that CEO had fed him. Mr. Amodei wants us all to believe that he's one of the nice AI CEOs because he turned down a Trump government contract. That's nice, but he didn't become a billionaire by being a nice person, did he? In this video, with the help of Ed Zitron, whom I thoroughly recommend you take a look at his work, we will take a little look at one Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI.
On the Tech Report with me today is writer of Where's Your Ed At and host of the Better Offline podcast, Ed Zitron. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about Claude Mythos later, but first I want to talk to you about OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, who's essentially been dragged in the press this week after a New Yorker expose revealed, among other things, that some of his peers and employees basically think he's an incompetent sociopath. What do you make of that piece in the New Yorker and the picture that paints of Sam Altman?
So I actually had Ronan Farrow on the show this week to talk about it as well. And a lot of it was, just to give credit where credit's due, a lot of it was Karen Howe had reported a lot of this in the Empire of AI, and other reporting had done this too. But nevertheless, it was a great piece because it pulled together over 100 interviews with various different people. And a lot of it was mainstreaming things that people need to know about Sam Altman, that he's a deceptive guy, that him and Greg Brockman talked about trying to play world powers against each other, selling AI, which is really funny because at that point, I think it was like before, I think it's like 2019, it was, they didn't have anything to show. They had like GPT-2, which could generate text. So these guys have always been fantasists. My favorite bit in it, though, was an anonymous board member saying that the way that OpenAI was levered up was scary. A board member shouldn't be saying that even in private. That's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign. So yeah, the whole thing was really interesting as well. Like Sam Altman doesn't know machine learning concepts, can barely code. He's just like me for real. Just kidding. I know machine learning concepts, but he is he's just a guy. Like that's the big thing from this piece that I think people need to take away. Like they try and for years, people, journalists have tried to prop up Sam Altman as this talented, smart fella when he's a node. He is a guy who's very good. And I'm writing a piece called The Hater's Guide to OpenAI this week as well. He's just a node. He's very good at finding a powerful person, exploiting their greed and desperation, and then using that for his own means, by which I mean finding ways to make himself look better or gain more resources and power as a result. He's done it with Microsoft, with SoftBank, with Oracle, with CoreWeave, with all sorts of parties now. And it's his whole life. He did it with Paul Graham at the beginning. It's really not obvious why Paul Graham made him the head of Y Combinator either, despite the fact that Paul, within that New Yorker piece, was quoted as saying that Sam had been lying the whole time. In fact, really the only thing we know about Sam Altman is that he is a liar.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It may not have had my usual dry sarcasm that you've come to expect, but that doesn't mean that I will not be doing more of those videos, even if the more sensitive little souls amongst us get all upset because, in their words, I am mocking other YouTubers. Now I would like to say to them, get a life if you're getting upset about me. Roasting other YouTubers and needing your nappy changed when I've not yet roasted you, then you've led an awfully sheltered life, you poor little darling, and maybe you shouldn't be doing YouTube because those who put their heads above the parapet should expect to be shot at. That is the end of part 1 in this series, and I do hope that Elon Musk or Sam Altman do not come after me for targeted harassment, which is what some dope tried to accuse me of, but for all Thayer Bigley words, didn't know the legal definition. I sent that to them, told them my video, which nobody had yet seen, except for me, did not meet the criteria. Cretin. That's all for now. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, then not only are you lovely people, but you also have great taste, and you should also subscribe to the Two Davies for news and politics from a very Scottish perspective, and that rantastic Mr. McGuinness. Cue growling cat.